Hello everyone, welcome to this end of the year 2016 special. This is the first end of the year special which I'm doing, and with this special I want to look with you guys at what happened at 2016 when it comes to the following subjects. And first of all, of course, games. What happened in gaming world in 2016? Were there any good games, any special games, or specific stories about some games? We'll look at that in the first section. The second section I will look at some gadgets or some other things that happened in 2016 which are worth of telling about. And on the third and last section I would like to end this video with a tribute to the dead, a summary of people who are famous and you might know and did die in 2016 unfortunately. So first let's look at the games. So 2016 almost over. For me personally, 2016 went by extremely fast. And I think that's because I've been busy so much at work and also with my YouTube channel that you pretty much forget about how fast time actually is going past by. And if you ask me what's the worst and best thing that happened in 2016, well, first of all, I broke up with my girlfriend after 3 years, so yeah, that's always hard. You know, it's always hard to live with it, especially when it's so fresh. But now a couple of months have passed, you know, I've been picking up my life. I've been continuing creating videos for my channel. I've been very busy with work, so thankfully I don't have the time that much to actually think about it. But of course, you know, it's still hard sometimes. But yeah, at the other end, I've been able to save some money and I really hope to buy a house next year for myself. So yeah, it's of course really bad, but I can now focus more on the future, and that I will definitely do. And yeah, the good thing is that I've been busy at work. I've got a little bit of a promotion, so that's a great thing, of course. So yeah, 2016 has gone extremely fast for me, and the problem with that is that I've not really been able to play much games of 2016. So for that, I really can't give you a honest review or whatsoever, but let's look at some games of 2016, starting with this footage that you see right now of Dishonored 2. And this trailer is a live action trailer, but I love Dishonored 1, but to be honest, I really did not play Dishonored 2. I think it's one of the many games that have been released, but I never actually had a chance to play. So if you like Dishonored 2, then let me know if it's worth buying. Then also released in 2016, Dark Souls 3, I think for the one who really likes hardcore gaming. They had a new adventure in a Dark Souls series. It got good reviews as far as I know. I didn't really play it much myself, but yeah, it's probably going to be on some Steam sale right now. At the moment it's winter sale, actually, maybe it's on there. So I feel I could pick it up for a nice price and you have a nice challenge to do this winter or in the next year. Also, Nathan Drake comes back in 2016 with Uncharted number 4. Naughty Dog has brought out this game, and probably everyone who owns a PS4 has considered buying Uncharted 4 or perhaps have bought it, because it seems to be one of the better games of 2016. I myself didn't play this game as well. Actually, I didn't really play much games in this year, but yeah, if you own a PS4 you might want to check it out. Not really sure if there's a demo available, but yeah, it seems to be one of the better PlayStation games this year. So Uncharted 4, check it out if you like the Uncharted series. And then we got the following game, which had an E3 gameplay trailer, which made me very enthusiastic for a game, and that has been a while since I've been enthusiastic for a game from seeing a gameplay trailer. And that game is Doom, the 2016 Doom. And yeah, I haven't bought it at the release, but I have bought it now at the Steam Winter Sale, so I'm going to play it for the next couple of months, I think, or next couple of weeks at least, the single player. It seems that multiplayer is already already a little bit dying, and lesser players are there, but you know, Doom, I'm going to play it for the single player experience. I think 18 euros was a very good deal. $18 for the Steam sale, Steam Winter Sale. So that's what I'm going to try out, and it, yeah, let's hope it's going to be a fun game. So if you want to have it, buy it from the Steam Winter Sale now. Then from one first-person shooter to the other one, and that is Battlefield 1. Yes, an entire new Battlefield which takes place in a World War I setting. It's probably one of the best games of 2016. Finally a stable launch for multiplayer, and that was very different with Battlefield 3 and 4. But yeah, everything seems to work fine. The balance seems to be fine after a couple of patches. And yeah, it's probably one of the games of 2016. I, however, did refund it, not because I found it a bad game, but because I don't want to go into the entire learning curve all over again, which I had to do with Battlefield 3 and 4. I unfortunately don't have the time, or, you know, or I don't even want to do that anymore. But Battlefield 1 is probably one of the best games of 2016. Try it out, buy it on Origin, and if you don't like it, just like me, just refund it. You can do that nowadays, so that's awesome. Hold on, we are not done with first-person shooters. No, this one is probably one of the better as well, one of the better first-person shooters of 2016, but it has quite a remarkable story behind it, and that's that this game, which is Titanfall 2, has been released in between Call of Duty and Battlefield 1. Yes, it was released in between the release dates of these two most popular first-person shooters. And the reason for that, nobody knows, or at least I don't know. If you know why they did decide to release it between Call of Duty and Battlefield 1, please let me know. But for that, the sales pretty much spoke for themselves. Horrible sales results, and for that also very small player bases in other game types. But yeah, you pretty much ask for it when you are releasing a first-person multiplayer shooter in between Call of Duty and Battlefield 1. So for that, it is a very good game actually. The reviews were very positive, but the sales, they really were poor. And for that, I think that there will never be a new Titanfall series. That's what I think. Let's hope they will release a very good Titanfall 3 and probably, hopefully, in another part of the year. But for that, Titanfall 2, fun game, good game, but yeah, poor release date. Oh, and speaking about bad sales results, Watch Dogs 2. Also not probably the sales records that Ubisoft would have hoped. And I think that's mainly because of Watch Dogs 1. Watch Dogs 1 pretty much promised a lot of things, and in the end it was a not so good game. And that's, yeah, pretty much of a disappointment when it was released, because people had very high expectations. Especially the PC version didn't really look nice. It could have looked a lot better. There were glitches, bugs, really messed up things in the game, and for that people did decide, well, you know, we saw Watch Dogs 1 and the poor quality of it, so we better wait a little bit, or don't buy Watch Dogs 2 at all. And that's what you see in sales results. And yeah, that's gonna be pretty bad for Ubisoft, because their Assassin's Creed series is also not really popular anymore, because the sales also dropped back a little bit. And what I think, they better don't release a new Assassin's Creed every year, and they better want to rethink a new franchise instead of Watch Dogs, because I don't think Watch Dogs 3 will sell any better. So Watch Dogs 2, it's, as far as I know, not really a bad game. It had some nice reviews, but I didn't really play much of it. So yeah, you might want to check it out, or check out the demo first. That's what I definitely would recommend before buying the full game. 2016 also had some cliche games as in sequels, and one of them is definitely Gears of War number 4. And just like Assassin's Creed, I am a little bit tired of Gears of War, all the endless sequels. They're at part 4 now, and I can hear you thinking, yeah, well, Uncharted had that as well, right? But that's true, don't get me wrong, but Uncharted has a lot of better storytelling, a lot of better character development, and Gears of War pretty much is just, again, a third-person shooter. And to be really honest, I really didn't see much of Gears of War 4. Perhaps, I mean, it's a great game, but yeah, when I heard it, Gears of War number 4, I was thinking, again, really cliche sequel of Gears of War. But yeah, perhaps if you like it, you should buy it. But for me, they shouldn't necessarily not have released this game this year. But yeah, if you like it, again, buy it. So let's quickly continue with the next game. then finally a PC only game. Yes, they still exist, and in this case it's Civilization 6, and it's actually a AAA PC game. And you can tell that by the voice of Sean Bean, which is actually doing the intro sequence and the explanation in Civilization 6. So yeah, it's definitely a AAA game. And yeah, I don't really have much experience with the Civilization series. I played a lot of RTS games in the past. I'm not really sure Civilization is an official RTS, but I played a lot of let's see, Settlers, Seven Kingdoms, Age of Empires, Cossacks, all those kind of old strategy games. And Civilization, it's out there for quite a long time. I know the Civilization is being released in the 90s, and yeah, I never really had a chance to play it, but Civilization 6 had some good reviews. Seems that one of the main criticism was that it was too complicated sometimes at things, or too many options, and too less explaining of how everything should have been done, and people sometimes need to search on Google how to do things. But for the rest, it seems to be one of the better Civilizations games, and it's very good to see a PC game only once in a while, and Civilization is one of them. So if you like Civilization, check it out. And then we go to a game which pretty much did disappoint me when I saw the trailer for the first time, and we're talking about Cry Primal. And why was I disappointed? Because I am a gun guy, I love guns, and Far Cry 3, the atmosphere, the weapons, everything was definitely one of the, I think actually the best game of 2012. And Far Cry 4 was, you know, pretty much the same as Far Cry 3. It looked a little bit better, but it had the same mechanics, but it had great guns, and that pretty much made the game also awesome. And yeah, of course, the setting in Himalaya, but Far Cry 3 and 4, they were very nice shooters because, you know, the weapons were nice, the variety of weapons and all. But now they did release Far Cry Primal, and I was thinking, am I really going to defeat all those stupid animals and NPCs with spears and bows? No, thank you very much. And yeah, that's pretty much the game. You only have spears, bows, and yeah, not really my cup of tea, guys. So I hope Ubisoft will release, when they will release the next Far Cry, it's going to be a modern shooter Far Cry like Far Cry 3 and 4. Please, no Blood Dragon. It was fun for one time. I know a lot of you guys like Blood Dragon, but I didn't really like it. But yeah, Far Cry Primal, not really my cup of tea, but if you like it, of course, check it out. One of the games which got punished and was actually creative by EA, can you imagine that, was the first Mirror's Edge. I think the atmosphere in the game was really wonderful. It was a really nice game. I actually watched a Let's Play of the first Mirror's Edge, and I watched it from the beginning till the end in one amazing, breathtaking Let's Play series. So yeah, I really liked the first Mirror's Edge, and to be honest, I actually forgot that this Mirror's Edge Catalyst was released this year, because I really didn't hear anything from it. I had no idea how the game did, and yeah, it had some decent reviews on the internet, but yeah, it's really weird that I did not hear a single thing about Mirror's Edge Catalyst, which means the game has not been as marketed as it probably should have been. I'm not really sure if you guys have seen much of Mirror's Edge Catalyst, but yeah, it's very unfortunate because I think Mirror's Edge has a lot of potential to be a good, unique game, but yeah, for some reason it just does not sell. I guess people don't really find the gameplay that interesting. So unfortunately, I think this is going to be the last part of Mirror's Edge. But yeah, you never know because EA, you know, they like to milk things. But yeah, very unfortunate because Mirror's Edge, in my opinion, was one of the original game series. Alright, there were more games, of course, that have been released in 2016, but I would like to talk about the special games which have been released this year. Starting with probably the most disappointing game of 2016, No Man's Sky, or should I say One Man's Lie. Because No Man's Sky promised us so many wonderful, great things, but at the end product was nothing compared to what has been promised. And as always, for more than 25 years, when a console version is going to be bad, because in this case the PlayStation 4 had no processing power whatsoever to render everything nice detail. So the PC version had to suffer for this as well, because usually nowadays it's just a bad port to the PC. So yeah, for that the PC version also sucked as well. So No Man's Sky, there are a lot of things I could talk about with No Man's Sky, but the game don't deserve it. It's such a terrible port, and yeah, I suggest we just let the 2016 most disappointed game for what it is and continue with the next disappointing game. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Yes, there we are again, the yearly Call of Duty. But this time it seems different. Usually Call of Duties, they are the best selling games of the year, and I think it actually is every year the best selling game of that year. But this time is different. Infinite Warfare has done, in its first week, it has sold 3 or 4 times lesser than the previous Call of Duty, which in this case was Black Ops 3. And every year since, I think, Modern Warfare 2, Call of Duty get a lot of hate with Call of Duty Ghosts, and Call of Duty 3 probably were the worst Call of Duties of the series. But this one is actually, if you look at it objectively, if it would have another name than Call of Duty, I think it would have been a very great game, If it was like a new IP and they would name it something completely different than Call of Duty, it probably would have got a lot better reviews. And the fun thing is, the game is actually not that bad. It's the single player is quite good, and the multiplayer is also pretty well balanced, but it's just a bad rip-off of it's a bad rip-off of Black Ops 3. And Black Ops 3 had some atmosphere, everything has been worked out very well compared to this. The characters, weapons and all, this is just some generic crap, to be really honest. The maps and everything. And for that, it's just one of the worst Call of Duties. And the funny thing is, this launch trailer, which you actually see, is, as far as I know, the most disliked game trailer of all time. And that really says something about the game. They really need to do something about the next Call of Duty to make it interesting again, because Battlefield is definitely winning the terrain over Call of Duty. First, Battlefield was more of a niche game compared to Call of Duty, but it seems that the Battlefield series are winning it now over Call of Duty, especially this Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, which, yeah, it's hopefully not really the end of Call of Duty, but I hope the authors will see that something needs to be done to make Call of Duty interesting again. But I would like to end the special game section with a positive thing, and that was the release of Baldurs Gate Siege of Dragonspear. As some of you guys know, Baldurs Gate 2 is on my number 4 or 5 from best games ever made, and yeah, it's been a while since I played the game. The game was released, as far as I know, in 2000 or 1999, and that's almost 18 years ago. And yeah, to be honest, after Baldur's Gate 2 Throne of Baal, its wonderful expansion pack, I waited a couple of years in the hope that they would ever release Baldur's Gate number 3. And then a couple of years ago, a studio named Beamdog was being created by ex-members of the original BioWare team that did create Baldur's Gate 2. And they announced that they were going to make enhanced editions of Baldur's Gate and Baldur's Gate 2 for the iOS devices and PC, of course. And then they did announce that they were going to create an entire new Baldur's Gate game, and that was something I did not see coming. So after almost 18 years, a new Baldur's Gate is here. Well, the question is, after 18 years, is this still worth playing? I have to find it out. I did bought it, so I can't give you the answer. But if you love Baldur's Gate, make sure you buy this game, of course. Alright, there were two things I think in 2016 which are really worth of telling about. And the first thing that I would like to tell about is Pokemon Go. Pokemon Go, what a unique story behind it. The biggest, or at least the most played game, I think, in 2016, especially on mobile. Also the most downloaded app on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. And, you know, after 3-4 months, it's already you know, a player base of I think 25% or even less when it started. And I think companies who were thinking that it was quite a good idea to invest in Pokemon Go or could do special things, special hotspots when the player base was so high, they had no idea how fast the popularity would decrease again. And yeah, I think some companies are pretty upset about that, and it's really weird story. I myself was a huge Pokemon Go player. I do have a subscription to the most famous theme park here in the Netherlands. I had it with my ex-girlfriend, but at the moment I'm not using it anymore, so I'm going to cancel my subscription next year when that's possible. But back then in the summer I used to drive after work for 30 minutes to that theme park. Was just sitting there at a nice Pokemon Go spot, and it was just Pokemon Go until the theme park closed and around 7:30 p.m. So yeah, when I'm thinking right now at it, I'm thinking what the hell was I doing back there? But yeah, I was addicted to the game as well, definitely. And it was a good thing, you know. Finally, people were going out, connecting, talking about it together, meeting new people. That was all nice, but it didn't really last longer than 3 or 4 months, and that's actually really weird. I have no idea why I did quit with it as well. At a certain point, it was just not interesting anymore. But it seems I'm not the only one who was thinking thinking the same about it. Now they have added second generation Pokemon, as far as I know, but yeah, it can't save the game, you know. And I also think when there is a new augmented reality game released like Harry Potter Go or whatever, it doesn't get that popularity anymore like Pokemon Go. And that's because I personally think people were not really aware what augmented reality was on their phone. Well, even that's a technology which has been available for so long. But yeah, 2016 was the rise and the end of Pokemon Go. So yeah, goodbye Pokemon Go. The other big thing that happened in 2016, finally consumer virtual reality. The Oculus Rift and HTC Vive have been released. So 2016, finally the year of the consumer VR. Of course, PlayStation VR has been released, but the biggest players are of course Oculus Rift and HTC Vive. And it took Oculus a couple of months, actually more than half a year, to release its touch controllers, but they're now pretty much even with HTC Vive, which of course already had touch controllers and room tracking. Personally, I've been thinking a lot which of the two I should buy, and I did end up with Oculus Rift. And at the first time, people were selling their Rifts because they liked the motion tracking and room tracking better with HTC Vive, because Oculus Rift did just not have any room tracking. But I knew Oculus Touch was going to be released at the end of the year, and it would probably be better than the bigger, clunkier controllers of the HTC Vive. And it seems I was right. The Oculus Touch controller seems to be a lot better than the HTC Vive controllers. And not that the HTC Vive controllers are not good, but the Oculus Touch have a lot more options. You can do a lot more with them. It seems tracking is also a little bit better, but you know, also you have like pointing gestures, hand gestures, and it makes everything so more realistic and more natural than the HTC Vive Touch controllers. I also did a special about the Oculus Rift versus the HTC Vive on my channel, so if you're interested in that, you can watch that as well, of course. But you're probably wondering, is it worth it, virtual reality, the Oculus Rift or the HTC Vive? Well, it's a very difficult question, and yeah, first let's get the obvious out of the way. Everywhere you read that you need a killer PC to run virtual reality. Well, killer PC, that pretty much depends on what you find a killer PC. A GTX 970 is definitely recommended, but I have to say a GTX 970 is around $200 on some sales, $250. So that's pretty much affordable. Then of course you need the other good components like a nice CPU and motherboard, but yeah, it's more affordable than you think. The headset itself, yeah, well, I saw HTC Vive being sold in sale for $750, I think, and Oculus Rift together with Oculus Touch is also about the same price. So yeah, it's probably going to cost you at least $800 for the headset and touch controllers by itself. So $800 for a full package, and is that worth it or not? Well, let me say first, when you put on a virtual reality headset and you never had any on So you will definitely be impressed. I can guarantee you that. Virtual reality is not a gimmick. It's nothing like 3D TV or Ambilight or whatsoever or curved. No, virtual reality is absolutely something new, and when you put it on for the first time, especially an end consumer product, you have no idea what you are into, because you are literally in another world where you can move, walk, look around, do whatever you want like in a real world. So that works. And also tracking, hand tracking, head tracking, room tracking, that works flawlessly. I have to compliment HTC and Oculus on that. No stutter, no jitter whatsoever. It works absolutely flawless. Then there's that issue about the resolution. Well, the resolution, I have to say, for non-virtual reality things and close-ups, in example virtual desktops, it's just a little bit too less to be a very good experience. But for games and demos optimized for virtual reality, I have to say the pixels did not actually bother me. You really had to focus to see pixels in virtual reality content. And with that, I have to say, yes, there are things like ForbX, which allows you to play games like GTA 5 in virtual reality, but yeah, it's like being in a big 360 video. But what you really want is games and apps optimized for virtual reality. Then you truly have the real presence of virtual reality. And at the moment, there are not really that much games and demos, but they're coming, and the number is increasing very fast of content. And that is definitely something that virtual reality needs if it wants to stay interesting for current owners and to have people buying their virtual reality headsets. The thing that puts me off a little bit is the field of view. I have to say, when you're fully immersed in a game or demo, you don't notice it, but you know, when you start focus on it, you can definitely notice that the field of view is not wide enough as it should be. If I really have to exaggerate, you could say you're watching stuff through a diving goggle. But yeah, that sounds a little bit, you know, it does the virtual reality experience too short. It doesn't really do that justice, because it is really an awesome experience. But the thing is only, I was expecting when I bought my Oculus Rift that I would put it on every day. When I come home from work, I put it on immediately, go to my virtual desktop or whatever, play virtual reality games. But no, not really. And I can't really explain you why, because the experiences are awesome, but for some reason it's not like I put it on immediately or I do much with it. Actually, nowadays I only use it in the weekends when I want to watch movies, because the virtual reality cinema experience is very nice. So for that, yeah, what can I recommend if you should buy it or not? What I would definitely recommend is that you can try it for a long period, so like 2 weeks or something. That would be the best experience. Then you can see for yourself if you are going to use it for a longer period of time. Because what I said earlier, virtual reality is going to leave you impressed very much. When you put it on for the first time, you know, and you check out all the demos, you will definitely think this is the next generation of gaming. And it is, it actually is, but the list of AAA games is very short. Actually, only Elite Dangerous and Project Cars are the games I can think of which are definitely AAA games. But yeah, the thing is, games need to be optimized for virtual reality, and at this moment AAA games are not really optimized for virtual reality. Of course, there are some good indie games and great experiences, but yeah, you can't really like play every game that you want in virtual reality, because it's just not optimized for VR. I have to say, Fallout 4 is going to be VR ready next year, so I'm really interested in that with Oculus Touch or the HTC Vive, of course. So yeah, would you recommend it for buying? Yes, for the experience, but it would be a little bit sad if you would not use it like me after. I don't have to say like that. It would be bad if you would not use it anymore after those weeks. And yeah, it's still a lot of money. 800 euros, $800. Might be a little bit too much for perhaps only the usage of a couple of weeks of virtual reality. So try if you can use it for a couple of weeks and then decide if you want to use virtual reality, and that's all I can say. If you want to see more about Oculus Rift versus HTC Vive, again, check out my full virtual reality video. So for a next virtual reality headset, I don't really wish that much anymore, because I think the motion sensors of room tracking, hand tracking, and head tracking are just perfect right now. I rather would have higher resolutions and a better field of view. And with that, we've come to the 2016 gadgets end. Alright, I would like to end this video with a tribute to who died in 2016, because unfortunately a lot of very famous people died, and almost always just way too young. And yeah, what can I do more than just to pay those people a tribute one last time in 2016 with this video. And hopefully 2017 will be a better year for everyone. So have the best wishes for 2017. And for now, for the last couple of minutes, please have a look one more time and pay a tribute to the ones who died in 2016. Thank you all for watching my videos in this year, and I hope to see you at my new videos in 2017. Take care and bye bye.